you tried to study Wicca, to learn Wicca, and you sort of find yourself getting really enthusiastic about it, and then you kind of wane off and forget about it? And you think, I'll come back to it later. And then maybe you come back for it later, maybe you don't, but you just keep finding yourself getting motivated to actually start a regular practice, really learning the craft, and then you stop. Hi, I'm Sandra from MysteryWitchSchool.com, and if you want to establish a deep Wiccan practice that connects you to yourself, nature, and the divine, hit the subscribe button below so that you don't miss anything. This video is all about the psychology of learning Wicca. It's really the psychology of learning anything, because anything that you learn that's worth learning is going to take time, and you're going to find yourself going on a bit of an emotional roller coaster as you learn it. And Wicca isn't any different, because there's a lot to learn and there's skills to build, and it is not a fast food spirituality. It actually takes time and commitment to really establish a practice where you really are feeling that deep sense of connection to yourself, nature, and the divine. So, the learning curve. This particular learning curve I got from a copywriting teacher called Mike Palmer, and he was talking about this in relation to copywriting or learning copywriting. But as I said before, you can apply this whether you're learning the guitar, whether you're learning a sport, whether you're learning a craft, anything that requires a skill to build and knowledge. You'll go through this emotional learning curve. And this is where the problem is. It's to do with our emotions and what we're experiencing emotionally, because it's the emotions that we tend to take notice of, and we tend to react to our emotions. So with the learning curve, you'll find when you first start learning Wicca, you're really excited about it. So when you're looking at the graph here, you can see that it sort of goes down and then it starts to go back up again. When you first come to the craft, you'll probably come here, and then you'll get to a point where you really want to learn. So you've read a few books here, you come to it, you're curious. You read a few books and you start to get really excited about it. Maybe you've had that feeling of coming home when you first connected with it. And so you really want to learn it. You might buy a course, you might buy heaps of books, you'll be Googling, you may even decide, okay, I am going to spend 10 minutes a day meditating, or I'm going to do a daily practice every day and read and study Wicca. I'm going to dedicate X amount of time of my week to learning this and becoming better at it. So you're really enthusiastic here, and he calls that uninformed optimism, because at this stage you've only maybe read a few books, you don't really know that much. But you're really optimistic about it, you're really excited about it, and you really want to learn it. So you come into it with a lot of optimism. So you start your course, or you start trying to implement what you've been reading from books, and you find that it's not all as easy as you thought it would be. You know, there's things you've got to do on a regular daily basis to build your skills. There may be things that the book hasn't explained, and you don't know where to go to find the information that you're wanting to find. And so what starts to happen is that you start to realize what you don't know, and you start to also realize what you can't do. And so what happens then is you start to go through a phase that's called informed pessimism. You actually start to become a bit pessimistic. And the pessimism is generally about your own ability to be able to see this learning process through. So sometimes life gets in the way, and you find that you're not dedicating the time to your practice, or health gets in the way. And so you don't feel you've got the energy or the ability to be able to do the practice. And then you get to a point where you realize that 6 months has gone past and you haven't done anything. And so you can start getting really pessimistic about it and going, oh, well, maybe this has happened before. Maybe you've gone through a cycle of crash and burn, where, you start with the enthusiasm, and then of course you get to that informed pessimism and you stop. What generally happens is you start getting pessimistic about what it is that you're doing, about your ability, about the time it's going to take for you to learn it, maybe even the cost involved in learning, because like any skill, you're most likely going to have to also invest money to really learn what it is you're wanting to learn, which means you'll have to invest in yourself. And a lot of people don't feel comfortable investing in themselves financially, especially when you've got other people who may be dependent on you. So you might come up against that as an obstacle as well. There might be people that you can talk to find out more things. So what happens then is you end up going through this phase of kind of a rock bottom kind of phase. And that phase is called the crisis of meaning. And this is where a lot of people opt out with any learning. So maybe you'll be learning the guitar, and you get to a point where technically it gets really difficult to start doing things that are more, that are harder. Okay, so you've got to spend a lot more time. You're going to sound like crap a lot longer until you actually master what it is that you need to master. And so often with your practice, for whatever reason, whether it is because you don't feel that you've got what it takes, or you don't have the resources available, or you can't afford to get the resources, you will come to a point of you'll either crash and burn and give up, or you'll persevere and you'll keep going. Apparently at this point, what actually is different between you down here and where you were up there is that you actually know more now. You actually know more, and you probably are better at it than you were when you first started. So you have actually accumulated some skill, you've accumulated some knowledge, you've actually gone a step further on your path, or maybe a number of steps further on your path than you were at when you first started. So it's not that you're crap at it, it's not that you'll never get any good at it, it's just that you've reached that point. And that happens with all things. If you've ever studied anything in your life or learned any skill in your life, even riding a bike, you go through this learning curve. Learning to swim, you'll go through this learning curve. So what happens here is that your skill level actually from here, if you keep persevering and you find ways to keep yourself motivated, you find ways to solve the problems you may be experiencing. So the issue might be you don't have the resources, so you'll find ways of being able to get those resources. Maybe you're wanting to find a coven, or you're wanting to find a mentor, so you then start to look for one. You may want to go and just join a circle, a magical circle group, to get that encouragement from other people. That's when at this point you need to actually look outside of where you've been so far, and look outside and see what other things are there to help motivate you and keep you going. So if that means reaching out to your community, that means reaching out to a mentor, that is really the place to do it. Because if you keep going, your skill level then will actually start to get better, and you'll start to excel in what it is that you're doing. But this is an emotional experience, okay? You're feeling excited and positive up here. You're starting to feel negative, some self-doubt, maybe some fear. And that just goes right down to the bottom of self-doubt. And this isn't going to work. I don't have the time. I don't have the money. I don't have this. I don't have that. And you get into this pool of self-doubt. You start to blame the world around you for why you can't progress. And you'll either crash and burn, or you'll go, hang on, what can I do? What can I actually do in this situation to help me move forward? Is there one thing that I can do every day to keep me going, to keep me in this momentum of learning? Even if it's just a 5-minute meditation every day, even if you just read a page of a book every day, or watch a video, or just do something every day to keep you going when you're at that level. You will find that if you keep doing that, you will actually get to grow and learn and deepen your practice. Because the whole thing about Wicca is that it's a spiritual practice too. It's not just learning magic. Magic isn't that difficult to learn, really. It's quite simple. There's not a lot to it. What makes Wicca different from just doing magic is that you are working on yourself as a person, so that you can connect to the world around you, to the spirits around you, and yourself. And that's what a spiritual practice does. It helps empower you. It helps connect you from the inside. And the magic is really just to help you organize things on the outside. They go together. The inner magic and the outer magic go together. So that is the Psychology of Learning Wicca. So have a think about where you might be on that scale, and pop that in the comments field if you'd like to share where you are on that curve and what your experiences of that curve, even if it's not to do with Wicca, even if you can go, oh yeah, I remember going through that whole process when I was at, at college or uni or something, or I was trying to learn something, and I discovered that I was, at that point where I wanted to just give up, and I kept going, and look what happened, hopefully something positive. So do share your experiences in the comments field below. And for you who are really wanting to start your Wiccan practice and you're not starting it because you're at that point where you go, I really want to learn this, but I don't know where to start, and you're stuck, watch my free video, How to Start Your Witchcraft Practice. The link to that is in the comments in the description field below this video. It gives you a roadmap that just tells you this is a good place to start, and then this is what you need to learn along the way. So you're not trying to do everything at once, and you're not tearing your hair out going, well, do I start with doing circle work? Do I start with the Sabbats? Do I start with the lunar rites? What do I start with? Okay, so do check that out. And if you like this video, hit the like button, share it with your friends. Don't forget to subscribe, and I will see you on the next video. Blessed be.